Breaking out at 4:30, a man is in the hospital with a gunshot wound after a reported home invasion. Multiple suspects and a child were at that home when this happened. We're live at the scene this morning.
Justice has been done.
Justice served 5 years after the death of Eric Garner. The officer responsible for his death has been fired, what the New York Police Commissioner is saying this morning. And a bittersweet victory for the Stros, the player we're calling the game MVP, and the injury that has Astros fans holding their breath.
From the KHOU 11 studios, this is H-Town Rush.
Good morning and welcome to H-Town Rush. I'm Lisa Hernandez. It's Tuesday, August 20th. There is a federal recommendation making the rounds that has people heated up on our social media page. It's all about the recommended thermostat settings for your house. This morning we're asking you, how cool do you keep the house when you're sleeping? Head to KHOU.com/vote now to let us know. We've got the federal recommendation in about 15 minutes. So while you vote, meteorologist Chita can tell us how hot it's going to be today.
Oh man, keep it cranked. I know it's tough and it's tough on the bill, right? But take a look. Now, I'm talking about how hot it is, but the good news today, the heat advisory is lifted. It is in effect for areas just to our north. North Texas, smack dab under that heat advisory. However, us here locally, a few thunderstorms will be possible by the afternoon once again. Let me zoom on in. Galveston County. I'm talking Seawell Boulevard right along the bay there this morning. 45, you are already starting to see a few showers. Better chance afternoon. So between about 1 to 5 o'clock, that will be your best rain threat today. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s this morning. We quickly climb to the upper 80s by 10 o'clock at lunchtime today, low 90s. Mid 90s for your afternoon highs. We'll talk more about the rest of the week stuff coming up in about 5 minutes.
All right, Chita, sounds good. Starting off with a little activity on the South Beltway westbound side. This all sparked by a vehicle fire. The fire is out, the activity still in place, and you're going to see it very close to 288 right by Post Oak Road, and that action going on right there. So it looks like help is on scene finally after waiting about 30 minutes for that tow to arrive. So overall picture breaking down like this. I want to zoom into one other little problem spot of note, and that's going to be on your inbound side of the Katy Freeway. It's a popular route to get to the Beltway, and this is something you will see before you get there. So that at Willcrest Drive, travel times to the south of town, all checking in A-OK. Lisa.
Thank you, Steph. Breaking this morning, man shot during a home invasion with multiple suspects. This is in Southwest Houston near the Wildcat Golf Club. Our Michelle Choi is live at the scene with details for us. Michelle.
Lisa, police say between 3 to 4 men forced their way into this house behind me and shot a man living inside. Now, what's even more terrifying is at the same time, there was a 4-year-old child in the house. Now, the good news is that child was not hurt, but police were called out here just after 8 last night for a reported home invasion. They say several items were taken before those men took off in a dark-colored car. As for the victim, well, he was shot in the leg and rushed to a hospital, but is expected to survive. Now, police tell me this morning that 4-year-old child is with a family member and safe. At last check, robbery investigators were talking to witnesses and looking for surveillance videos. Guys, back to you.
All right, Michelle Choi, thank you for that update. The man convicted of killing his wife in 2 separate trials could walk out of jail next week. Yesterday, a judge set a bond hearing for David Temple for next Friday, August 30th. Earlier this month, Temple was found guilty a second time of murdering his wife 20 years ago in Katy. Jurors could not agree on his punishment, however. Another jury will not be seated to decide that sentencing until spring of next year. This morning, we're hearing from one of former UT football star, Cedric Benson's teammates in the wake of Benson's death. Benson and his passenger Amna Najum died in a motorcycle crash Sunday night. Benson beat out his former teammate Ivan Williams for a starting spot. Williams says Benson never felt entitled to anything and was always a free spirit.
I remember an incident in college. He had hurt his shoulder riding a motorcycle. So when I got the news it was on a motorcycle, I was hurt, but I smiled at the same time.
Williams remembers Benson being an all-around wonderful guy and says losing him hurts both heart and soul.
It's been 5 years since Eric Garner died. Now, the New York police officer who put Garner in a prohibited chokehold is off the force. The New York Police Commissioner fired veteran Daniel Pantaleo yesterday after an internal department review of the case. The commissioner says the officer's actions were unjustified.
Officer Pantaleo's use of a prohibited chokehold was reckless and constituted a gross deviation from the standard of conduct established for a New York City police officer.
Pantaleo was attempting to arrest Garner for selling illegal cigarettes outside a store in Staten Island. The veteran officer used a chokehold when Garner resisted arrest. The officer's lawyer says they do plan to appeal the decision.
2 Democratic congresswomen are criticizing the president blocking a planned visit to Israel. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib attempted to visit Jerusalem and the West Bank. President Trump has feuded with the freshman lawmakers for months and pressured Israel to ban them from their country. Israel denied their visit because they support a Palestinian-led boycott.
The decision to ban me and my colleagues is nothing less than an attempt by an ally of the United States to suppress our ability to do our jobs as elected officials.
Israel's prime minister defended the ban, saying Israel law prohibits anyone who could harm the country from entering. Planned Parenthood is pulling out of a federal funding program, saying it will not comply with new rules from the Department of Health and Human Services. New guidelines require clinics have separate facilities for health care services from facilities that offer abortions. Health providers are already banned from using federal money to perform abortions. Pro-life advocates argue any money for Planned Parenthood, even if it's not used for abortions, frees up funds to be used for the procedure. The changes could impact the nearly 4 million patients who receive wellness exams, birth control, STD screenings, and other care under Title X. The Trump administration is dismissing suggestions that the U.S. economy is headed for a recession. A new survey shows more than a third of business economists expect a recession by 2021, but the president downplayed that possibility, says the White House is pushing back, the White House is pushing back against any suggestion its policies contributed to the financial markets' uncertainty. 3 Pearland school administrators are the target of a civil rights lawsuit. Jules Trice's parents say that their son was humiliated when a principal, teacher, and discipline clerk used permanent marker to color in his hair. This was last school year at Barry Miller Junior High. Administrators claimed his haircut violated school dress code and threatened him with in-school suspension unless his hair design was filled in. A lawsuit claims the staff laughed while they did it. The district did apologize for the incident, and it led to the district changing its dress code's hair policy.
FBI Houston says thinking before you post could save them a lot of time and keep you out of trouble. It's part of the agency's social media campaign as the school year begins around the Houston area. Agents say there's usually an uptick in threats and hoaxes during the school year, but posting a threat, even if you think it's funny, is no joke. Penalties include possible prison time and a criminal record. Parents are also encouraged to talk to children about proper social media usage. Threats are sometimes a cry for help in other areas.
Yuli into center. Reyes going back, and he won't get there.
A bittersweet win last night for our Stros. We start with the game's MVP, Yuli Gurriel, the 2-run double on the first. Stros bring home a win against Detroit, 5-4. The two play again today at Minute Maid first pitch at 7:10. That was a sweet. Here's the bitter. Carlos Correa left the game after that strikeout last night with some discomfort in his back. You might remember Correa had a back injury last year with that massage mishap last month to boot, so there's no word on whether Correa will be back on the lineup for tonight's game. Fans watching the game might have noticed the new extended netting up at Minute Maid Park. The netting comes months after a little girl was seriously hurt by a foul ball. Last night's home game was the first time Stros fans sat behind that new protection. The Stros are just one of several MLB parks extending their protective netting. All right, it's 4:38. Let's get over to Chita. Checking the radar. Any hopes for some cooling rain today?
Oh my goodness, yes. We have a 40% chance of a few scattered downpours. So even though we are starting off this morning mostly dry on the radar, boy, that will change come lunchtime and into your early afternoon. Let's talk about it. At this point, overnight we really quieted things down. Did you catch a few drops? Did you catch a thunderstorm yesterday, or did you just hear the big boomers out there? Well, either way, today we're starting off with a few showers along 45. This is from Galveston County near Hitchcock this morning. Santa Fe, not out of the question. You can tap into a stray shower. Most of you, though, will keep it dry for the morning commute, and we will start to see that rain pop in midday and early afternoon. Let me show you on our future track. This is noon today, 12:30. So when you're out and about for lunchtime, maybe the kids at school ready for lunchtime, you'll start to see a few showers. So it may have to be inside today. I'm looking at really accumulations less than about 1/4 of an inch for most of you. with the exception, take a look at some of these thunderstorms trying to fire up here. Not contained north of town, but this is where Future Track is saying that we could see the worst of it, but we will continue to monitor here. Know that within some of those thunderstorms that pop up, we could be picking up about a half to a quick inch of rain. Now, not for everyone, but where those thunderstorms fire up. 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're still tracking scattered showers, so a 40% chance today, a 30% chance tomorrow. We have upper 70s and low 80s out the door this morning. Your bus stop forecast, a muggy start to the day, 77, 92 by lunchtime, and then a high temperature stuff goes to 95 with some of those thunderstorms.
All righty, Cheetah. Well, we are pretty darn clean here in traffic. It's a nice, easy morning for you if you do have to head out in the next few minutes. The one big construction project I want to remind you about, because we're going to see it tonight, the next night, all the way till Friday. So it will be all lanes closed on the West Loop southbound side, Woodway to Post Oak. Usually they wrap up a little bit early, but we should see that definitely reopening in the next 20 minutes. Connectors from the Katy Freeway also shut down with this same project. Breeze of a drive out of Pearland right now. It's going to be a nice steady pace of 67 miles an hour north on your 288. That's going to hold true just north of the Beltway all the way into Sunnyside this morning as well. And here is a look at conditions by Little York Road on the East Tex Freeway. Your headlight side is going to be that southbound side. No accidents there. Lisa.
Thanks, Steph. It's 4:41 right now. New details surfacing about Jeffrey Epstein's legal documents. What we know about the will he signed 2 days before his death. Federal and state health departments investigating claims that vaping caused lung disease in dozens of people. What we're learning about a possible link there. And there's a federal recommendation making the rounds on social media about the best thermostat settings, and it has Houstonians heated. Grab your phones, get ready to vote. This morning, we want your take.